Let's record. Okay, so today I have as my guests two people I know pretty well here in this Valley of the Sun. They are entrepreneurs. They are also husband and wife. They also work together. And that is kind of the title of their new podcast that they just started together 24/7. I have Barry Cohen and Cat Cohen below me here. So thank you guys so much for joining me today for this interview. I really appreciate it that you're here. And my first question for you is I want to learn a little bit more about you, but then also how you guys met, because you are husband and wife. So whoever wants to start in on that, go ahead.
Reel your tongue in, wife.
We met on a BBS. So if you're under 45, you have no idea what we're talking about. And if you're over 45, I just dated you. So we met on a bulletin board system, which was the closed internet, if you will. You dialed in to somebody's computer in their living room, and everybody chatted together. It was the original social media. And
awesome.
That's how I met.
Awesome. How about maybe the first date or so? Like how did you guys get comfortable enough? So that was back in like IM days there almost. It sounds like, or probably.
You're kidding me? It's back
pre IM days. Okay.
2400 baud modems. No, this is. I thought I could understand that again. The hidden phone.
Anyway, so tell me a little bit more about your background. I know about your background, right? So okay. I know a little bit about your background, but where are you guys from? How'd you get to Arizona? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, so since this is the romantic part of it, I'll talk because he'll just give you the 30-second version or the 3-second version. We met in New York. We were both living in New York. With the bulletin board, it's a little bit safer than online dating and flying across the country to meet a total stranger. Because with the bulletin board system, everybody knew everybody because you'd have social outings. You'd actually socialize, get away from your computer, go meet at a bar. That being said, I asked all my friends if he was a serial killer or anything like that. And they said, no, he seemed fine, if not normal. And we met for lunch. So he met me at my office. My girlfriend took down notes in case we had to send out an APB. And we just went across the street and hung out in Union Square Park for a little bit. And then after that we met. So Barry
was my fashion sense that won her over. Wasn't it? Wasn't it?
She's shaking her head.
So we started dating after we had spoken online and had spoken on the phone a couple of times, and I found out that Barry was moving out to Arizona, but that was perfectly okay with me because I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship. Barry is a rebound. My husband is a rebound. Okay. So we're still waiting for the rebound to happen and me to move on to the next permanent thing. That was 20 years ago, and that's how we met. And that's how we moved out to Arizona. He was moving out because he liked it here. He had been out here. And after a couple of months of dating, I followed him out here because I had nothing better to do.
Okay, fantastic.
Nothing better to do.
I had nothing better to do. That was the truth. That's the
truth. And how did you two get into entrepreneurship then together?
Necessity. That's really what it comes down to, necessity. We both decided.
Thank you for the awe.
What's that?
No, somebody said, aw.
Yeah, Steve gave you that aw. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so we both basically hated working for other people. We both come from entrepreneurial families. So to have a job, working for somebody 9 to 5, commuting every day, it wasn't us. So we each found our individual passions, and we went for that and started working for ourselves. Then eventually our passions combined and we started a company together. That was our barter exchange way back when in 2003. And that evolved into our barter software company, which we run together. And so everything kind of evolved. It was basically saying, there is no way in hell I'm ever updating my resume and sending it out again. That's what it came down to.
Pretty much.
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys started with the barter exchange. Tell me about that experience. When did you get started? How did you learn about a bartering system and all of that? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, back then, before we started it, the two separate companies that we had, Catherine was a massage therapist, and I was a computer repair guy. I'm still a computer repair guy. I also did websites and hosting websites and all that way back then. Catherine was introduced to barter through the place where she had her massage therapy practice set up. So she was introduced to it there. Said, "Oh, this sounds pretty cool. This is pretty neat." And then she introduced it to me. We both joined this barter exchange. I guess we were members for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. Yeah.
We were members for we were members for a long time. We were members for 4 years before we started our.
Yeah. And what basically happened is we didn't really like the way it was being run. We didn't like the way the owners were running it. And we were sitting down and having lunch with a friend of ours. And,
at a barter place.
I'm sorry?
At a barter place.
Right. We were having lunch, paying with barter, because that's what you do. And she said to us, "Well, if you don't like it, why don't you start your own?" Okay, challenge accepted. We did. And we ran that successfully for 10 years.
Yep.
Awesome.
Did a lot of research on it. I mean, now with our software, I've actually come up with a program, and I'm evolving that program even more. But now I've come up with training. There is no training in the industry unless you want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and fly somewhere to hear an old man talk about how they used to barter in the 1980s, and and nothing to do with reality of 2015. There's really no training, and we're the only ones that ever developed training when we developed our software, and now we're evolving that training to be online. Even the International Reciprocal Trade Association, who is the big worldwide barter, association for barter groups, doesn't have online training. You have to wait once a year and fly to whatever expensive resort they're having their conference at and do your training there. So we are so ahead of the curve, it's unreal.
And I just want to say hi, Pam. I was talking to Pam earlier. I think you guys might even know Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Who just joined. But it's okay. She wants to sit and chat with us, so I'm going to go ahead and let her here.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
So just want to say, Pam, these are questions kind of focused on the Cohen family here, of course. So if you have any questions for them, feel free to go ahead and shoot them their way.
Great. Thank you. I just wanted to listen in, if that's okay.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. So I guess my next question is, so you guys did that for 10 years. You guys were doing the bartering system for 10 years. What is, when did you kind of move into the current business that you're in right now? And is that together 24/7 or still together 24/7?
It's all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. Cat, go ahead and take it away.
In 2013, we sold the barter exchange, but in 2009, we realized that we had already used two of the software that was available at that time, and we were looking to move to another software company, and still nothing. It was horrific, and it still kind of is. There's one other good software company out there really, and that's about it. 2009, we partnered with a friend of ours, and we developed Barter 21 software, and that's really what we've been working with. It took us a few years to realize that we couldn't do both, and so we put the barter exchange onto the selling block. It took us about a year to sell it. The software is what we do now, along with Together 24/7. Together 24/7 came out of the fact that we've been working together since 2003, and the unique challenges that face a couple that decide to create a business together.
Okay. And what? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say all that stuff.
So Barry, I'll put it back to you. What are some of the unique challenges that you've experienced being in business with your wife on a daily basis?
Well, you know my wife, so you know there's many unique challenges. You wipe that smile off your face, woman. No, seriously though, some of the challenges are you're living together, working together, playing together. You're literally together 24/7, and that's how we came up with the name of it. So you have to find a way to separate that business argument that you're having or disagreement that you're having. You've got to separate that from your personal life. Otherwise, you're just going to kill each other, literally. And usually the woman wins. So thank you.
This is true.
Thank you.
Yes,
Not hearts. They're. I'm getting the clap.
The props.
Yeah.
Guess what? I think you. So Pam, just as an aside here, Barry and Cat were on my very first Blab, by the way. That they were a part of my very first Blab in
3 in the morning.
Yeah, a ridiculous hour. Let's just say that. And back then, it was called Feels. They were called Feels, but like about 2 weeks ago, they decided, that's a little bit shady, and Jared came out and all that good stuff. So they changed it to Props. So they're Props now. So
props.
Anyway.
They're this, they're not this. They're this, they're not this.
So tell me a little bit more about Together 24/7. So who are some of the people that you've interviewed so far, and kind of have you found a lot of couples that are in the same situation as you?
So many couples that are in this situation. Omar and Nicole from $100 MBA are probably one of the more recognized couples that we've interviewed. On Friday, we did an interview, and we're posting that up the Thursday before Halloween. And that is Jay and Marie Yates. If you are a fan of Ghost Adventures or a fan of Ghost Adventures Aftershock, they were just on Aftershock in August of this year, and they are professional ghost hunters. So we interviewed them, and that
was a fun one, by the way. We did them on location, in the Buckeye Chamber of Commerce building, which is it's haunted. It's the original firehouse, courthouse, and jail for Buckeye. And apparently it's haunted. I was setting everything up. So while I was setting everything up, Catherine was going on a tour of the place. She actually periscoped it.
Periscope the tour. That was one of our most popular periscopes.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And apparently she got poked and heard stuff while we were doing the interview.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been so much fun. I mean, we are getting, when we first started, I mean, it was kind of scary because we didn't know where we were going to get people to interview. We were like, okay, we go to our sphere of influence that we know, and we pretty much wrang that dry the first couple of weeks because, there's only so many people we know that are in our situation. Then all of a sudden, we're putting it out to a further network, and people are contacting us. Now we're getting emails every day of couples that are in business together and want to get on our show. So it's really cool. And we've only been released for 4 weeks now.
3 weeks. This is our 4th week.
Yeah, this is the start of our 4th week. So it's really cool how fast it's growing.
Wow. Pam, do you have any questions for them? So I hear a little bit of that.
I actually Catherine and I talked I think the day before you were going to launch.
Right, the day before.
You a call, because I can't even remember exactly how I first met you, if it was through Daryl or
through Melinda Solomon.
Oh, that's right. You're right. So I have to say that big props to the two of you for being able to work and live together. I mean, I'm in awe.
It's more props to me. More to me to live with her.
Somehow, I'm just not so sure that that's true.
Indeed. So, so let me ask you, go back to entrepreneurship a little. Are there any like couples, maybe even that you look up to, or any individuals that you guys both kind of look up to as far as entrepreneurship and whatnot? I think there may be a person by the initials JLD that you guys know.
You know what? JLD and Kate, John LeDumas, he's been great with getting us started in podcasting, and his fiance Kate Erickson. And they're going to get married, and they are working together, and they, you know, in one sense, and you know, if anybody's listening, and if John or Kate, if you're on here, no disrespect, if you will, but hey, he's built an empire. He's built a podcast training empire. He's, you know, he is the man if you want to go for podcast training. But I don't think he's old enough to have been with Kate for 20 years. You know, we've been in business together for 12 years. I don't think he and Kate have been together 12 years. You know, same with Omar and Nicole. In their chosen profession, they're way ahead of us, but in not killing each other, we're way ahead of that.
You guys are Jedi masters in that.
Jedi masters. So I think probably
However, we are Padawan learners compared to my parents.
Oh yeah, and my parents as well.
Tell me a little bit about your parents. So you guys said like both of you have you know, entrepreneurial background and the parents. Tell me, like, first we'll go with Barry first. Like, what were your parents doing? You know, when you were growing up, and then we'll go to Cat. So.
Sure. Well, my father's a CPA with his own practice. He was also a college professor, taught accounting in Queensborough Community College. He is right now 81 years old and still says he's going to retire soon. So, you know.
We actually, in our first episode, we put it out there that we would be taking bets on the retirement. And I think we're going to add a page. Once we interview them in November to the show notes, we're going to add a page where you could place wagers, you know, not money wagers, but just general wagers on whether or not Larry's going to retire.
And it's not that he can't retire or can't afford to retire. It's that he would not know what to do with himself if he did retire, and my mother would kill him because he wouldn't know what to do with himself, and he'd be annoying her all day long. But when it came to working together, like I said, my father's a CPA, and my mother was always helping him with tax season came around. She was the person that got everything entered into the computer. Before the computer, she's the one that got all the paperwork ready to send out to the IRS or whomever. So she was always the one doing all of that. They're always working together. January through April, and then summertime was vacation time. So constantly working together, and that's what I saw growing up. And you know, Catherine and I, we don't have an office that we go to. We work out of the house because that's what I saw growing up also. You know, my father worked from home, the dining room table, he spread out his papers, did his work. When he was done working, closed up all the papers, put them back in the file cabinet. I haven't learned that putting away part yet. Not at all. If you saw my desk in my office, we kind of see a little bit of my office. But so, you know, that's what I saw growing up. And I know Catherine's experience is a little bit different, but I'll let her tell you about that.
Yeah.
So, growing up, my parents owned a shoe store. So my dad is from Italy, and he is a shoemaker by trade. And so he started a repair business, and then they started to get in shoes, and they bought a building in New York, and then they bought another building. You know, after a while, we sold one building, and my siblings and I still have the other building. You know, there was a store, so there was a retail business as well as shoe repair. So my dad did the shoe repair, and you know, back in the 60s and 70s, you were dyeing the shoes for bridal parties and doing all kinds of shoe repair. And orthotics, my dad did his own orthotics and all those other things that, you know, big companies do now. And my mom and dad took care of the customers. My mother took care of the books, and they both worked in the store every day. My mother would leave for the store a little bit later in the afternoon, so she would take care of me. She would take care of my siblings. And growing up, we all worked in the store. We all had a task to do, whether it was pairing up shoes or marking, marking things or fixing them or repairing them, anything. I can repair shoes. I know how to do all of that stuff. This was taught to me at a very young age, but my parents were together constantly at the dinner table. Now they went to a place. There was a store. However, our garage was one of the secondary or tertiary places where we kept stock. So our garage and our basement were always full of shoes, as were the store and the basement and the store and everything. But they went to a location. Granted, it was 2 blocks away from the house, but it was, it was still a location. When they came home at night, the dinner table was a recap of the day. I learned to count by counting money, because back, in the 70s and, kind of early 80s, people didn't use credit cards. Everything was cash or check. So, that's how I learned I can add and subtract in my head, because my dad made me do that. He made me count up the money and put it down and okay, now add all this up in your head without, paper and pen. So that's always been my experience. And then eventually my sister and brother-in-law took over the store. So they work together, and they're constantly together. They're retired now, so
you don't want to do that.
we don't want it. My sister has a squeaky, cranky voice, so we don't want to interview them. But and she won't be on here, so she won't hear what I'm saying. Anyway, they've since retired as well. So they have a small business that they run now with my brother. My brother-in-law and brother run a business of shoe repair, just shoe repair, and not like you broke your shoe and you went in. We're talking major companies like Saks Fifth Avenue, Lord & Taylor. Shoes come in damaged. They come in from overseas damaged, and they've got to be fixed before they put them out on the shelves for $200, $300, $400 a pair. So that's what they're doing now. It's all I know.
Nice. Well, let me go ahead and begin to wrap up, I guess, here. I'm just trying to think here. The next question I would have for you, though, are you guys a part of, or have you ever been a part of, say, a mastermind group at all?
You should ask that.
Yeah. No, wait. You got to go like this, Cat.
No, you're over here to me.
I think it's reversed, actually. So yeah, Cat. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's
exactly.
Yeah. We have been in mastermind groups, and actually now we are developing our own. Okay. We've seen a lot of them, how they work. Some of them have, they all have good points and bad points, and we're trying to take all the good points.
Why is Barry, hold on a second, why is Barry getting all the love, people? No idea what it's like to live with him. Little love down here, little love down. Thank you. Go ahead. Keep talking, honey.
Wait a second. Let me feel you a little bit. Okay. So yeah, we're putting together mastermind groups right now. The first one's going to be the beginning of October. We don't have an exact date set yet, I don't believe.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay. Contact us for information on it. Anyway, what this is going to be, this is not a networking group. Okay, a lot of us are in networking groups. Networking groups are great, but this is mastermind group. What this is going to be is an advisory panel for your business, an accountability group for your business, a brainstorming group for your business, just ways for you to get beyond issues that you're having at the moment in your business. That's what this is for. This is to build relationships and trust everybody. We are going so far as to have NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, for anybody that joins the group. What happens in that room stays in that room. It's going to be really good. And this is the first one we're doing. We're putting together. It's going to be an in-person live group, open to anybody that owns a traditional business. We're not opening it up to MLMs. Because they have a completely different way of doing business that we wouldn't be able to help, and the other people in the group wouldn't be able to help them. They have their own support system in place. And after that, we're going to put together some online groups, use something like Blab. Actually, I just created a room in, what was the other one that we learned about the other day? Appear in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I put together a room there. That's pretty cool. You get up to 8 people in there. So and it's private. Nobody can come in unless you invite them in. So that's some of the things we're doing with the mastermind groups. We're also putting together a course, because what we did with the podcast. Cat, do you want to go ahead and talk about this part?
With the podcast, well, let me tell you about the first mastermind group, because everybody is invited, and the first one is no cost except for your meal. It will be held at La Familia Restaurant, which is on Dobson and Guadalupe.
For those of us local in the Phoenix area.
Assuming that you're in the Phoenix area, right?
For everybody who's local in the Phoenix area. And it's on Monday, October 5th from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. So we'll just be doing an overview at that meeting and talking about, what's going to be included and what it's all about and everything. So there's that. And then what else did you want me to talk about?
The course we're putting together, the mentoring and coaching.
The mentoring course. Okay, so we've got, we're
the reason why.
The reason why. Podcasting can be used for a lot of different things. You can create a podcast and create your own empire around it. Most people are not going to do that. Most people have a business that is, or the people that we're looking at have a business that's already established and they just need to get to the next level. By creating a podcast, you can increase your sphere of influence, and you can really get yourself out there as the expert, both having your own podcast and being on other podcasts. So we've created a course, a mentoring program called 8 Weeks to Launch, 0 to Launch, from somebody who knows nothing about podcasts. 8 weeks later, they will learn everything they need to know about podcasting, to specifically geared to increasing their sphere of business. We're not talking about getting sponsors. We're not talking about getting affiliates. We're not talking about any of those other things. We're talking about how do you create this, just the way just the way, Daryl, you're creating this Blab so that people know that you're the king of social media, and if your business wants to do social media, you're the person that they've got to speak to, because here you are all over the place. This is the same thing that we're helping people create with podcasting. Creating these shows that will set them up as the experts in their field and get them more clients through their sphere of influence.
And what's real important is we did ours not even a concept, just somebody saying, hey, you need a podcast. We started from there to actually launching and going live in 6 weeks. That's what we did, and that's kind of unheard of. So we're giving a little more leeway and saying, hey, we're going to take you from absolutely no concept to launch in 8 weeks. So that's real important. It's not just coming up with the idea and getting it ready, actually having it out there on iTunes, on Stitcher, shows in the can, ready to go. That's what's real important. That's what we're helping people step by step. We're just finishing up the course actually as today, just before we started this Blab, we were on, I think, session 13, the outline of that.
Right.
So, we're right there.
Yeah, and we've been mentoring somebody else who had a podcast years ago, who is part of Podcasters Paradise, something that, we all are part of. He is part of Podcasters Paradise. He is learning from Podcasters Paradise, but there's that extra step that some people need, that hand holding and the accountability. And it's just 8 weeks. We don't want to be with you forever. We don't want to, we don't want to be that coach that's just, charging you month after month after month. That's not us. It's good. It's great content. It's great accountability. It's great hand holding. And at the end of it, you'll be there. If you don't launch it, it's your fault, because you will have everything you need.
Awesome. It sounds pretty exciting. Got 2 more questions for you guys, and then we'll turn off the recording and maybe chat a little bit more. But next question is, so if somebody is in a relationship with somebody that they work with
Get
on a
out.
regular basis. Yeah, okay. There. So Barry's got that advice. Kat, do you have any advice for someone in that situation on how to go forward and be successful? I should say.
How to go forward and be successful. Okay, if you're thinking about it, think about your strengths and your weaknesses. Who's got what strength and who's got what weakness, and will you defer to the person who is stronger than you in certain areas, or are you just going to butt heads? Look at your relationship. Ask, if you're not sure if your relationship is strong, ask some of your closest friends if they have wagers going on when you're getting a divorce. I'm serious.
Wow.
But really, if people have wagers when you're going to get a divorce, don't get into business together. You will fail, and you'll bring your relationship crashing down. But once you've established that you have a strong relationship and a strong foundation, then you go into, okay, what are you good at? What am I good at? What I'm good at, will you defer to me? What you're good at, will I defer to you? Create a concept and then go forward with rules. This is where the argument ends. This is where the argument ends. This is when we don't talk about business. This is when we do talk about business. This is how we're raising kids around our business. These are the things.
Wait, hold on. What?
Yeah, just because we don't have kids doesn't mean other people don't have kids.
Oh, okay.
This is how we're raising kids in the business. These are the values that we're teaching them. Everything that you do as a parent, you're teaching your child values. And so having a business is not any different. If you're going to lie, cheat, and steal, and you think that your kids are going to grow up to be any different just because you go to a store or you go to an office and do it there, you got kids that are going to lie, cheat, and steal, and you'll be visiting them in the penitentiary.
Right.
It's as simple as that. These are all the things you've got to have in place before you decide to launch your own business together. And once you do, follow those rules. Always.
Great advice. And the last question for you is, like, if somebody kind of sees this in the replay, wants to learn more about you guys, how can they do it? And maybe one can put the little links in the comments section. One could tell us how, Barry, if you want
Better, Cat.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's so many ways. First of all, our website, together247.net. If you want to, our podcasts are all on there. If you want to go directly to our podcast, it's together247.net/iTunes if you happen to be on a Mac or have iTunes on your PC. We're also on Stitcher Radio, but you could also get us on Facebook at facebook.com/realtogether247.
Yeah.
Thank you. On Twitter, if you want to get us on Twitter, just use Catherine's handle there, realtogether247. Mine I just have set up just for something like Blab, so we could have separate accounts to get into Blab. Let's see. Email, if you want to reach us via email, we are together at together247. If you want to give us a call and just chat, you can give us a call. We're at 602-399-7430. I think that's everything. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Oh, no, hold on. And on Periscope, if you want to catch up with the Cohens, on Periscope at Together247.
Together247. So yeah, the same. Well, no, actually,
no, it's not the same.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I think.
Yeah, I think they might be able to get a hold of you now.
Yeah, we're hiding.
So thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to speak with me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and end the recorded part
before you end this recording, I just need all of the viewers to know that when you originally asked us to do this, you wanted us to do this at 1:30 a.m.
I did, and you said no for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Because we
worked it out.
Because we're old and we go to bed at 10:30, okay? And we're going to have dinner at 5 o'clock, and that's just the way it is.
Okay. All right. Anything?
Wait. Go to our website and sign up on our website for our newsletter, which isn't going to be annoying and every day. And I don't even know that it's going to be once a week, but it'll be a newsletter, and it'll be a fun newsletter, and it'll be an informative newsletter. And then when you sign up for the newsletter, we've got free stuff to send you. So we'll send you free stuff from our newsletter. So go do that.
Free stuff.
Free
stuff. Put it right here. All right, I'm going to stop the recording unless you guys have anything else to add.
I'm done.